It could be either Las Plagas, because we know that the Flash, right? That's a good point. The Flash, you know what I mean? They don't like that. It could be T. Phobos. It could be the mold virus, specifically that strain. So it could be 3. I hope it's not the mold virus. Now, after knowing that this thing does not like light, this is obviously a light switch. So it seems like you're going to be able to go through certain sections. You want to go through the light to prevent the thing from going there for like a couple of seconds. You know, it's a way to cut off the pathing of this creature. And then you want me to believe that this is happening for 60 years? Like, let's just double it and pass it to the next guy, essentially. Like, so in today's video, I'm actually going to be dissecting the new demo that was showcased at Gamescom for Resident Evil 9. I'm also going to be giving my thoughts on a theory that a lot of people seem to be believing about that monster that showed up in the demo. And I'll also be going over the problems that this theory has and why I think this is actually a horrible idea. On top of that, we're also going to be looking at the similarities that this new monster has with other BOWs. I have to say a huge thank you to everybody that stopped by live while I was shooting this video. You guys are awesome. And just so you guys know, I did add some new sections to this video. So, you know, it's kind of new for everybody. But in any case, let's get started. We'll just see it. Okay, so that's the new logo. Resident Evil Requiem. Oh my gosh, it's Ethan's cousin. He actually has a face.
He's dead.
Yeah, thank you, detective. What?
Infected.
All right, can I just stop it right there? I know that this is going to be in third person and in first person, if I'm not mistaken, right? I will say first person in cutscenes looks so bad, bro. Like, it looks so trash. Like right there, like you put your hand there, oh, that's all you're seeing, and then you're seeing the thing grab. I'm curious to see if they actually, you know what I mean, was this game designed to be, you know what I mean, first person at the start? Because I want to see her reactions in third person. I'm hoping that she actually kind of, you know, retracts a little bit. Maybe she's shocked, because you really can't see the person's face. I think that's one of the biggest issues I had with RE7 and even RE8, where, I mean, before the third person mode, well, even with the third person mode, the cutscenes were still in first person. But yeah, I just didn't like the acting. It was just really like and as an actor, it's like having facial expressions is going to help you a lot, right? To convey the scene, to help you, you know, with the storytelling. But you can't really do that if you're just with your hands. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys remember in RE8, the beginning part where in like the Luis's house is going on fire or whatever, Ethan gets super upset and all he can do is just these kinds of actions, like, oh, what the hell, what is going on? Like, it's just like he has to mime a lot of his emotions. So I want to see what that looks like in third person. Does this thing not see her as well? This is another point that I don't know. And by the way, this creature looks very intense. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of another monster that was in Resident Evil recently. Now, I will say, this is very similar to the creature. I want to go back just a couple of... I know this is my first time watching this, but there's something that I noticed that was very interesting. Yeah, right here. The eyes. Do you guys see the eyes? That looks exactly like House Beneviento's The Baby. That's the same, like, face. Literally, that's the same face. Like, not the face, but you know what I mean? Like, the eye. The thing had a huge mouth. Obviously, it didn't have teeth. But that's something that I was kind of mentioning in my first dissection video. I was like, this thing reminds me of that 100%. But I was just going to say, in terms of, like, this type of a monster that's very gruesome. I mean, we've only watched a couple of seconds of this. I'm trying to think, and I think the only other monster that I can kind of say that had that kind of an impact of just like gross or just intense, like in like an intimidating way, I guess maybe was the U3 in Resident Evil 4, like OG specifically, not the new one. The new one they kind of toned him down, but in the OG, like he had like a huge tongue, bro. He looked insane, bro. Like that creature was crazy, and that's what I'm getting here now, right? So, but I'm also getting a bit of the baby, especially with like the way the eye looks. You know what I mean? The circle evil, that it almost looks a little bit dead. It looks very reminiscent. So I'm curious. I know before we were yesterday's video, we were kind of, when we were looking at the trailer, we were kind of mentioning that this is most likely that doesn't have to do anything with the mold virus. But that right there might be enough evidence to suggest that this might be the mold virus. I hope that that's not it. I hope that it's just the developers are just like, yo, let's reuse, you know what I mean? Let's just reuse the same concept we used for the baby, since a lot of people got scared of that. Let's use it for a new monster that's kind of similar. I hope that that's the case, because I never liked the mold virus. I thought it was really dumb. I think it's probably one of the worst viruses in Resident Evil, if I'm being honest. Not the worst. I think I can think of another one that's a little bit worse. Maybe the T Phobos was a little lame, or even like the T Abyss. They were not great viruses in my opinion, but yeah, not the worst. But anyways, let's continue. I'm with you. I hate playing as a pair of hands. I want to see my character. Yes. I think it's more like what they used in Lisa Trevor, maybe mixed with the mold though. I don't know. I don't really see too much of Lisa. I think it seems like the only thing that I can just say that it seems is just like the chains, right? She has like a bit of chains. I think that's a theory that Residents of Evil was kind of bringing out. I actually don't agree with that theory. I think that would be if it happens, it happens, but I think that would be a really stupid idea. I don't think bringing back Lisa Trevor and making them truly like, what's the word? Not invincible, but immortal. I mean, that's an idea that obviously, you know what I mean? Like Nemesis was super hard to kill. What other creatures have been really hard to kill? You know what I mean? Like there's other creatures like Lisa Trevor. I'm trying to think right now, but you guys know there's several creatures in Resident Evil that are BOWs that are really hard to get rid of. But I don't think that that's a good idea to make them immortal. It wouldn't make sense that this is the same Lisa Trevor. I mean, you could make the counter argument that, well, Lisa had a bag over her head, but it's also way bigger than Lisa ever was. You know what I mean? Like the size of Lisa in RE1 Remake as opposed to the size of this creature is like almost double. You know what I mean? This thing is huge. So before we continue, I do kind of want to elaborate and kind of share my full thoughts on why I think that bringing Lisa Trevor back for Resident Evil 9 is one of the dumbest ideas. I do want to start off with, as I just mentioned, immortality. If we were to hypothetically bring back Lisa Trevor to Resident Evil 9, you would have to play with this idea, which is a very supernatural idea. You would have to make her immortal, which is not good because Resident Evil doesn't really do that too often. And I think when it does, I think is when we get one of the weakest storytellings. Like for instance, Resident Evil Revelations 2 with kind of like sharing the consciousness, kind of like Professor Xavier, which I think is super, you know what I mean? It's going on to supernatural territory a lot, or how we recently had Resident Evil 8. The whole game was very supernatural. Obviously, it's supernatural, but since Capcom knows that Resident Evil always has kind of a pseudoscience to back things up, it still tried to use pseudoscience to kind of explain the Megamycete and all of those problems with, or I say problems, but all of those story elements, even though it just causes a lot of problems, right? It starts going into huge topics like souls and whether that's true, you know what I mean? Especially when we go into the story of Shadow Rose, which I think is one of the worst DLCs ever in Resident Evil, just because of all the supernatural stuff that's happening in that DLC, right? With the flower powers and all of that. So my biggest issue with bringing back Lisa Trevor is that, again, you would have to be stepping into the realm of supernatural. And even though Resident Evil always has a pseudoscience explanation, it still is a lot to explain. It's a lot to suspend one's disbelief. And kind of speaking of this suspended disbelief, when we actually talk about the character of Lisa Trevor, there's several issues with her character, and I'm not going to get into all of them. I guess I'm just going to go through a rundown. Like for instance, now it's worth noting Lisa Trevor's story is very tragic, a kind of really tragic, and it's super murky. For instance, her dad was responsible for building a lot of the mansions or inspiring a lot of mansions throughout the whole world for Oswald. Obviously, he ended up doing the Spencer Mansion. And since Oswald wanted to get rid of all the evidence that this guy worked for him, he tried to kill him. But not only that, the remake introduced this idea that not only did he kill the architects, George Trevor, he also experimented with his daughter and as well as his wife. So super dark. And the point where it starts to get really murky is the fact that Umbrella just decides to have Lisa running around. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very secretive thing that Lisa's in the compound, having her going around the mansion basically anywhere she sees fit and nobody stops her. It's almost like a hush hush kind of a thing, but everybody or Umbrella knows that she's there, but nobody deals with the situation. And you might be asking yourself, oh, well, that's okay if it's just like a year or it's just a couple of months, right? You have like a BOW that's going around and stealing people's faces, specifically women. But no, this has actually been going around for 30 years, right? So from the 60s or when she was born or whatever until the mansion or whatever. Anyways, I'm not going to get too much into the lore of Lisa Trevor. I just kind of wanted to mention a couple of those highlights as to how, you know what I mean, murky this lore is and how it just absolutely does not make sense. Obviously, we know that the reason Lisa Trevor was actually brought on was because it was probably a cool idea and the devs kind of just threw that in there in RE1 Remake. I mean, there's evidence to support this because even we know that they were in a time crunch, and even one of the dumbest puzzles in RE1 Remake, or one of the easiest puzzles, not the, I guess it's dumb too, but one of the easiest puzzles is when you get like one gravestone and you get the medallions and then put them on the other gravestone and then you get a magnum. I just wanted to add that just for the people that assume that Resident Evil 1 Remake is a perfect game. Yeah, okay. Okay, whatever. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, since Lisa Trevor has so much issues with the lore already, and it's already a huge leap to suspend my disbelief that we have this girl running around for 30 years in the mansion area and nobody does anything about it or nobody, you know, addresses it. And then now you want me to suspend my disbelief. And not only is she going around the mansion for 30 years and then, you know, was there when the explosion happened, since we know that from the lore from Umbrella Chronicles, and supposedly she's supposed to be dead. Now you want me to suspend my disbelief to say that she's actually been roaming around for 60 years? Because obviously the timeline of RE9 is another 30 years after the events of 1998. So you want me to do that? Like, that's wild. All right. That right there is wild. That's one of the reasons why I think that this is incredibly stupid. I don't think that this is a good theory at all, because as mentioned, you're going to have to suspend your disbelief tremendously to actually make this theory work. Not to mention, you're going to have to use a lot of presuppositions to make it work as well. Now, I kind of mentioned this later on in the video, but for starters, she is not the same height as Lisa Trevor, whoever the new chick is in RE9. Not to mention, too, a lot of people are kind of suggesting, oh, she sounds exactly like Lisa Trevor. She has a nightgown, but it's like, okay. So again, you want me to believe that a creature survived for another 30 years, kind of just goofing off, and nobody stopped that? Nobody sent like government agents to like figure out what the frick is going on, especially since Resident Evil, we know that there's like infected, there's literally outbreaks. That's a common occurrence, and that everybody knows that, you know, that's part of the universe in the lore, that, you know what I mean? There's BOWs. So if anything, you want me to also believe that she's been running around 30 years without anybody putting a stop to it, next to an area where the government blew up the whole area. Like, again, there's a lot of presuppositions one has to take. Another problem too that kind of arises with this, hypothetically of course, is that if Lisa Trevor is this height in Resident Evil 1 Remake, and then in the Resident Evil 9 she ends up like doubling her size, you know what I mean? One of the arguments that I kind of brought up that just kind of helps it a little bit, but there's still issues, is the fact that, oh, well, she mutates. Well, even if she mutates, that begs the question, how much does she mutate? Is she just going to keep mutating? Is she just going to, like, when is the ceiling going to happen, right? Now, this is a question that you could also bring up with Nemesis, with Birkin, but as mentioned, when it comes to Resident Evil lore, or the norms of the Resident Evil universe, we know that enemies are hard to kill. That's what makes Resident Evil fun. But to make them immortal is you're stepping on the line, man. You're going past what's the norm. And another thing that I also want to mention in terms of Lisa Trevor making a return in RE9 that I also think is kind of dumb is the fact that it's really her story. Lisa Trevor's story is already tragic. Not only is it murky on the lore side, but it's also incredibly tragic. It's incredibly sad. To my knowledge, Resident Evil has never done that, where they've made one tragic story and then they just continue it so that it just becomes endlessly tragic and even more tragic. Like, we've had tragic stuff happen in Resident Evil lore. We've had it happen in games, but it ends. There's a beginning and there's an end to that kind of era of tragicness for whatever character we're discussing. But it doesn't continue. And if we're gonna have Lisa Trevor be running around 30 years like infected and whatnot and kind of remembering bits and parts of herself, but not really, and then you want me to believe that this is happening for 60 years, like let's just double it and pass it to the next guy, essentially. Like, I'm sorry, but there's no evidence in the series that that would be the case. It would make more sense that something tragic happened and then it finished, right? For instance, Chris losing all of his men, tragic, it ended. Leon losing all of his men in Resident Evil Vendetta, oh, it happened. Oh, you know what I mean? He gets over it. You know what I mean? Leon going through the events of Raccoon City, having the PTSD, but then really tragic, but then obviously, having survivor's guilt and then getting over it. You know what I mean? There's always a beginning and an end to the tragic stories that occur in Resident Evil, but it never continues on for freaking forever is what I'm getting at. So again, that's another issue with this theory, right? Is that it would just be needlessly tragic to just continue in the suffering of having Lisa Trevor. And another problem too that I kind of have with this theory is the fact that a lot of people kind of look at all of those things. Oh, she's wearing a nightgown. Oh, she's a female. Oh, she makes similar sounds. As mentioned, and just like literally like a couple minutes ago, this thing has very similar qualities to the baby in Resident Evil 8. Does that necessarily mean that it's the baby in House Beneviento? No, it doesn't. So, not to mention too, you could also look at all of the arms. That also looks like the House BOW that appears in Resident Evil 6, as discussed in my first dissection video. Does that mean that it's that? No. I think what's happening here is that there's obviously a lot of inspiration from other BOWs that have come in the past for Resident Evil. And the devs in Resident Evil 9 have kind of taken bits and pieces of one of their most iconic bosses or iconic BOWs and kind of slapped them together, right? I mean, say what you will about RE8. I think it's a good game, but obviously I have issues with it going too much into the supernatural side. So much so that no pseudoscience can explain it like correctly. But with all that being said, Resident Evil 8 had a very memorable location, which was the baby section, right? It was the first time where people were like truly terrified. I personally, I think there's other issues with that section and the fact that you couldn't really fight. You couldn't really like deter the baby. All you had to do was just basically run, which is also another issue because Resident Evil has always given you that aspect of having the survival aspect, always giving you like, if you run out of bullets, you still have a knife. You can still defend yourself, right? But with that section, it was very memorable to a lot of people because it's the first time I think in the series or one of the first times, correct me if I'm wrong, where you don't have anything that you can do except for running away, And usually when it comes to Resident Evil, you can always fight. You can use your knife if you don't have ammo, or which again is connected to fighting, or you can just run away, right? But the fact that the game forces you to run is quite memorable. So again, going back to what I was saying, I think what's happening here is that the Resident Evil 9 devs are just grabbing some of their most favorite, I guess, BOWs. Lisa Trevor, right? They're getting a lot of inspiration from there. They're getting a lot of inspiration from the baby in House Beneviento. They're getting some inspiration from other characters, right? As mentioned, RE6, like the arms from that creature in RE6 looks very similar to this creature. You know what I mean? And it looks like they're kind of just combining all of that together. I could even add her face kind of looks very similar to El Gigante in Resident Evil 4. So again, a little bit of that and kind of making a new character, which I think is great. I think I'm fine with that. But my issue is that if this would actually be Lisa Trevor from all the way in the past, right? And again, no shade to anybody that came up with this theory. I don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like it's everybody's free to think up their own theories. My only issue is that I am going to be attacking a theory if it doesn't make logical sense or doesn't follow the logic of the series. And as mentioned, there's several issues here that arise if Lisa were to come back. But I guess the last thing that I have to mention is the fact that it would be really predictable. Very predictable. And this kind of goes with another theory as well that we kind of go over later on in the video, is that there's a lot of people that are kind of ascertaining that this creature is actually Grace's mom. And I don't like this idea. I don't like it because it's way too predictable. And likewise, I also think that having it be Lisa Trevor is way too obvious and kind of cheap. In Resident Evil, say what you will about the series, it's filled with plot holes. It has really great stories, right? I mean, you could make the counter argument that 6, 7, and 8 were kind of rough. Even you could even make the count. You could even go further and say there's other, like the last good stories were like the original trilogy or even Code Veronica. But I'm not one of those Resident Evil purists. We're not gonna go there. But I like 4, I like 5, I like those stories. I mean, obviously, right? I'm called Project Wesker for a reason, right? So, but as mentioned, it would be way too predictable to have Lisa Trevor, and just way too cheap to just have her show up in RE9. Not to mention, it would also hurt all of what was worked on in the past. Even though there was some issues with it in the past, as mentioned, her lore is murky, I still think that bringing Lisa Trevor back to Resident Evil 9 is a very dumb idea. So I hope I've explained it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But anyways, let's go back to the video. One thing that I was also going to say too is that I would buy the theory that this is Alyssa a lot more than I would that this is Lisa. A lot of Alysas. Alyssa, Lisa. But I still don't like either of those things. I don't like either of those theories. I still think that it wouldn't be good. I wouldn't like that. That'd just be too... It'd be kind of cheesy, in my opinion. Also, like, you know what I mean? Like, what, your mom is chasing you, and trying to kill you. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't like that. Or like in that section right there, the monster didn't try to kill Grace. So then, you know, maybe the monster remembers that was the that's just cheesy. I wouldn't like that. Are they taking blood from her, or are they injecting her with something? I think they're taking her blood. Why would... Yeah, that looks like blood. Okay, is this gonna be like Ethan? Oh, she actually got it? She didn't hurt herself? Dang, alright, good. That's good. I thought she was gonna hurt herself, bro. And yes, Jacob, that's exactly what I mentioned yesterday. Yeah, somebody brought up that it was a hotel. I don't know if that was you, but yeah, no, I don't. I mean, somebody brought up that it was an apartment, but yeah, I don't agree. I think it's definitely a hotel in this, and I don't think that this is in Raccoon City. Also, the other one too, which is what I've said for a long time, right? So we'll see. I'm curious to see though. There was one thing that could change that could mean something different. And I want to see if we get to that section. What did he do to me? So this is obviously the same guy. I think what happened here, I'm just putting two and two together with everything. Logically, it seems that obviously the guy that's like, Grace, you're special or whatever, special or something, right? That guy, the guy that's in the hood that killed the other guy in the trailer, the villain, right? The villain that we know so far, even though I hope that that's not the villain because he looks kind of lame. But that dude, it seems like he has kidnapped Grace, and I would actually say that it seems that I think I know the location of when he kidnaps Grace. It's actually when he's sitting down and and you hear him kind of talking about how Grace is special. That looked like an abandoned hotel. It looked like an abandoned hotel that had like been abandoned for a number of years, which tracks with what we've recently saw with the trailer yesterday. It seems to me like Grace goes back to investigate, you know, especially with the whole thing that happened at the start, right? The first trailer that we got where it shows that the FBI agent is like, hey, I want you to go look at this location. I know your mom died 8 years ago, whatever. It seems like he's sending her to go back and investigate at the hotel, from the same hotel that, you know, allegedly Alyssa died. So I think that when she goes back, she actually talks to this guy again, and then that's when he kidnaps her, and that's when we get this scene where she actually shows up in the hospital. I don't think the hotel and the hospital are in Raccoon City. I don't think so. I think that they are both in the East Coast just because of the rain and stuff, as discussed in my previous theory, right? 2026? What does it say here? What does the Japanese say here? 2020. Oh, I think it's just saying that when the game releases, it's saying 27. Right? Yeah. I can't really see right now, but it says a 2. So yeah, February 27th. That's when they're saying the game is releasing. Okay, let's go back and see what the frick that was. Okay, let's see. Began wood extraction at 8:03, or is that 8:05? I think that's 8:05. 8:05, check pulse, no abnormalities. So this right here gives us a huge clue. It seems like I've just the word here, use abnormalities. It almost seems like the guy who was checking up on her, whether it's a doc or it's the villain, whatever, it seems like he's trying to see if she's maybe infected. That's what I get right away. I don't know. We'll see. I'm getting maybe she's infected. Administered Dayfil. What does that say? That almost looks like Dayfil. Dayfil. I don't know. What do you guys think? And then after just a couple minutes later at 8, sorry, this is not 8. This is 10:18. My bad. It's 10:05, 10:03 or 10:05. I think that's 10:03, 10:05, 10:11, 10:18. Condition stable, ready for further examination. Further examination. Condition stable. Yeah, it seems like they're doing experiments, right? Obviously, I think maybe he was infecting her, whoever the doctor was. He says administered Dayfil. We don't know what Dayfil is. Abnormalities. I do think that she's infected, bro. I think obviously there was something. It looked like blood. So I wonder if that blood is what's carrying the infection. The fact that he's looking for abnormalities there. That's my guess. But yeah. Ryan says Dexifil. I saw an English version. I guess it's a made-up drug. You see Dexifil? I see oh, wait. Yeah, it's almost like Daxifil is what I see. I mean, I don't know if the I, because there's no dot. That's why I kind of ignored that like middle spot. So I thought it was Daxfil. Or, sorry, Dayfil. Yeah, that could be an X or a Y. Yeah, it's kind of like bad writing, right? It almost looks like it could be like a Y like that, or it could be an X slanted, right? So it could be Daxifil, or Dayafil? No, I don't think so. Dayafil sounds weird. I think it might be Daxifil. I mean, you said it was like an E. I think that's an A. But yeah, looking like my handwriting. That definitely says blood, not wood. Yeah, I mean, let's go back, actually. Yeah, that is, yeah, is that, yeah, that makes more sense, that blood extraction. So, interesting. Thank you for catching that. Yeah, it's just really bad writing, right? Yeah, I think that is a B. It's just a B that's like written like it's a B that's written like that, bro. So it almost looks like, I don't know, it made me think of like a W, right? Yeah, I think you're right. That makes way more sense. So thank you for letting me know. It seems like began blood extraction, checked pulse. So that changes things. That means that was her blood. He's taking her blood out. But that could still mean the same thing, right? I mean, she administered Daxifil or whatever, condition stable, ready for further examination. Yeah, right here it kind of shows the translation too. I just noticed this. I mean, it's in Japanese. We could take a screenshot of that just to confirm with what we're seeing. I'm going to do that right now on my phone because it's easier. And yeah, it says Dexifil administration. Blood collection begins. Pulse, no abnormalities. Dexifil administration. So it is Dexifil. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is Dexifil. That's what it's written in Japanese. Dexifil. So that is an E. Really bad handwriting. I mean, doctors have horrendous handwriting. Condition stable, samples to undergo detailed examination. So that's what the Japanese says. I mean, it tracks, right? Began blood extraction, check pulse, no abnormalities. Administered Dexifil. Wait, there's an L here. Dexifil administration, condition stable, samples to undergo detailed examination. Yeah, condition stable, ready for further examination. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. So that's just confirmation. It seems, I don't know what Dexifil is. I mean, as Ryan was saying, oh, is it Ryan? Who said that? It seems like it's a Ryan. Yeah, Ryan said, yeah, it's like it's a made up drug. I think it's Day something. I was thinking, what if it wasn't about Grace and it's the creature? No, it's definitely about Grace for sure. Just because we already noticed that Grace had that blood, that was next to her. So it did look like that blood was coming out of her system, right? And then obviously this doctor is just checking her pulse, no abnormalities. This doesn't mean that she's not infected though. It could mean that she is infected. It doesn't rule that out, especially since he's keeping an eye on her. You know what I mean? And then Dexafil might just be some sort of drug. As Ryan was stating, it could just be a fake thing, a fake kind of drug, condition stable, ready for further examination. Yeah, it seems like he is. It seems like all of this is just kind of showing that he's trying to see any signs, and they're trying to do tests by the blood extraction. So I do think she's infected. I mean, it tracks. I mean, like, how many Resident Evil characters do you know that have been infected after getting kidnapped? You know what I mean? Like Leon, most recently with the RE4 remake. There's so many, bro. Okay, so she's in a hospital. I'm curious to see what she reads here. Oh. Okay, it doesn't say the English. A lot of blood has been lost. Okay, thank you, detective. Nothing useful here. Yo, why does the mirror look all gross? By the way, if you guys are enjoying the content and you guys want me to make more of this, then let me know by leaving a like and also sharing the video. Just in case you guys didn't know, I am a very small content creator. And of course, having more subscribers does help me book more interviews like the ones you guys have seen on the channel where I speak to very famous voice actors. It would also help me get more collabs with bigger content creators so we can all hang out while I'm streaming a discussion with them. And it also gets me more invitations to special events so I'm able to cover more stuff for you guys. But anyways, let's get back to the video, and thank you to everyone that's supporting the channel. That's weird. Okay, what's prep room? What does it say at the bottom? It turned on the light, but it wasn't very bright. So it seems like this is her like... It seems that you can't move forward unless you get the light somewhere. Oh, because it's so dark? Okay, let's see, read this. Empty bottle. It has a faint, pungent medicinal smell, and when thrown, it breaks and attracts attention. So that is not a first aid spray or a first aid like bottle, like what Ethan would always just like, just put on his wounds, on his like missing hands and stuff. It's just something that attracts. So it's, I guess it's going to be like something similar like a BOW attractor from like Revelations or something. I want to see what's over here with the specs though. I want to see what that translates over here. Power and effect. So I'm judging that this has to do with duration of this thing, and power is the length of it or the timing of it. That's interesting that they're adding this kind of section. We've never had that in Resident Evil, correct? No, I don't think we've ever had something like this. That's a new system. Unless I'm tripping. I'm trying to think, but yeah. Okay, let's see what this is. Ink ribbon for typewriters. Oh, that's ink ribbon. Yeah, it sucks that there's no like definitive. I'm just maybe translating Japanese for no reason. Whatever. Let's see. Is that a lighter? Yeah, that looks like a lighter. Interesting. What does it say here? I'm just gonna take a whatever. We're looking at the Japanese. I don't want to look at other videos. All these videos are just repurposed content, man. So a lighter, an ornate metal oil lighter, useful for navigating dark rooms. Okay. Yeah, so we did see her kind of do that. We did see her kind of... Oh, there we go. Classic fuse. Wait, let's go back. I want to see, is that help? No, those are the bottles that she just grabbed. But what is the key? There we go. What is that? I want to see what that is. Angel key. The key is heavier and colder than it looks. The carved angel isn't looking at me. Huh. So I guess those are the new keys. But we can translate, so it sucks because it's the best demo in my opinion, but it is in Japanese. Yeah, okay, well then that's good to hear. I think that's an angel key, and that's the attractor that we were just seeing, so I'm not going to translate that since we already saw that she got one in her inventory, so she has multiple. Prep room. Okay, so she went back to the prep room. Now it's interesting that they didn't show us what was here and where she found the lighter and stuff. I think it's probably because she ran into another cutscene. Something's gonna happen. She probably stumbled on the creature and they don't want to show us that part of it. Okay. This is the prep room. I think we've seen this section before, actually. I think we have. Is that the same dead guy as before? Yo, that thing is huge. Holy cow. Wait, let's go back. So wait, did the guy come back to life? Wait, okay, so let's see. These are really tall freaking ceilings, right? We saw that in the previous gameplay. I mean, this door looks like it's not too tall. Is that the guy she ate at the start? Yeah, this thing is so... Wait, I want to see how... I hope she turns back. Wait, okay, so we've been here. Wait, we saw this. Yes, remember? This is the elevator. She just turned to the left. This is something we dissected before, and this was actually, yeah, where she went down. When she tries to go down here to do the elevator and doesn't work or whatever, or it looks like an elevator. I don't know what it was, but you know, it was really dark. But yeah, and I figured that maybe the thing was going to go in front and kind of prevent you from continuing. It seems like that is the case. That thing's just going to be a stalker enemy here. Why is she limping like that? Is that her running scared? Probably is, because you know, most Resident Evil games, I think we just talked about that in the previous stream, that there's always jogging involved. There's always jogging, so I think that's what's happening here. I noticed she sounds exactly like Lisa from Resident Evil Remake. Yeah, we talked about that. I don't think it's Lisa. If it is, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but yeah, I don't like that theory. Yo, it almost looks like she broke her head, bro, going through that. Let's go back. Look how tall this thing. Now, this is the first time we've actually seen how tall she is, bro. If it's a she, I don't even know. Yeah, it sounds like a she. Well, she actually hit her head. Yeah, those are tall freaking... This is tall freaking ceilings. I wanted to see her actually go through. What happened? Oh, she doesn't like light. She doesn't like light. I think that's what it is. Wait, I don't think she likes light, boys. I think that's what just happened. This thing is freaking... what? Like, there's no reason for her to do this. There's no reason for her to do that. She does not like light. Huh. Yeah, it looked like it was burning her. Let's go back. There's no reason why she just retracted. And also, what does that say at the bottom too? Yeah, maybe it actually states that in Japanese. Let's actually look at that. No, that's what it says. I ran into the room, but it was a dead end. So it's almost like giving her thoughts to Grace, which is weird. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't like light. Yeah, I think that's a weak spot for the light. Yeah, this thing is freaking like me, bro. It's like it's like light sensitive. No, I mean it's burning all like on. It looks like it's actually hurting her. You know what I mean? Well, I mean that could also happen to me because I have light sensitivity. But you know what I mean? So we haven't seen that since like Wesker, bro. Where you know what I mean? Where it was like kind of, but not 100%. Obviously, Wesker, you just shut off the lights, and he's like, "What? I can't see." But you know, they've never really gone deep into him being light sensitive. But this is interesting. I think it has something to do with a similar infection or something. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if there's but I wonder if this infection makes you light sensitive. Yeah. It almost looked like she was burning a little, right? That's interesting. So that's why there were certain sections that were dark. And she's like, I can't even see, it's so dark. There's so many dark areas. So this is almost like a safe room. So you know how in Stalker Enemies and RE2 Remake, you have, you know what I mean, those save rooms. It seems like this is going to be the safe room is whenever there's light. Now, I imagine there's going to be sections where this thing is actually going to just break the light, maybe from the top on the roof. I don't know. We'll see. But that's interesting. It could it be there's a Plaga within her? Plagas are very sensitive to light too, and the enemies in Revelations too. Yes, you're right. You're right. That's a good catch, Leon. Yes. And this is something that I actually suggested in my previous theory, is that this could be the T-Phobos, something that has to do with T-Phobos. And if it is, you know that Alex Wesker is involved, right? But yes, I forgot about that. Moira would use her flashlight to make the enemies light sensitive. Thank you. I was trying to think what other thing. And I'm like, Wesker, but no, Wesker wasn't like 100% light sensitivity. But yes. Yeah, that's very interesting. The Dimitrescu family were light sensitive too. Don't forget. Were they? Oh, yeah. No, were they? Yes, they were. Thank you. I completely forgot about that. No, you're right. Yeah. Yes. Was it Lady D? Or I know the daughters for sure. Because there was also sections where you could break the windows, right? Like the barricades of the windows in RE8 Village. So it could also be a connection to the mold virus as well. And it is very like almost vampiric as well, right? That's what I was going to say before. I mean, I get called a vampire because of my light sensitivity from from one of my best friends. One of my friends, yeah. This sensitive of light. Anytime, Jeff, go. Yeah. Plagas 3.0. I love that. It could be either Las Plagas, because we know that the Flash, right? That's a good point. The Flash, you know what I mean? They don't like that. It could be T. Phobos. It could be the mold virus, specifically that strain. So it could be 3. I hope it's not the mold virus, as we discussed early on in the video. I hope that that's not the case.
What the hell?
I'm thinking to this theory that it's going to be her mom. We talked about that. That seems super. I know that would be really cheesy. I hope not.
What the hell was that thing?
I wonder if she gets a flashlight later on to come out like an Alan Wake, lol. Yeah. Or like Revelations 2, right? Which did take inspirations from Alan Wake. This is the first thing that came to my mind. I wonder if she gets a... Oh, yeah, the flashlight, yeah. I doubt it's her mother. It's a fake out. They want us to think it's her mother. Yeah, I think she's still alive. Honestly, TRV, thank you so much for stopping by. I think Alyssa isn't dead. I think that's why they subtly cut it out. Like, they cut it out. Now, it could be that Alyssa is infected, just like the other dude, but not to this level of gruesome infection. You know what I mean? I don't think so. Anyways, let's go back. Let's freaking lock in, boys. Let's continue.
Oh my God.
Okay, this thing likes to go for the head.
God.
It likes to bite heads off, and that's it. It doesn't need anything else. Is there another head missing there? Now, I've never played Alien Isolation, and I think I should. What do you guys think? I know I mentioned this before, and you know what? No, you guys wanted me to play it. Anyways, what I was going to say is that Alien Isolation is something that I think I saw one creator talk about that, because there's a bunch of creators that were in like the Summer Games Fest, you know, like demo. They got the chance to play RE9. I think it was Maximilian Dude. I don't watch too much of his videos, but I'm pretty sure it was him. I also watched Sphere Hunters video, like part of it, and also Jake Baldino. Yeah, no. I think it was Max. Max specifically said that this gameplay reminded him of Alien Isolation. Now, if you guys have played Alien Isolation, when you move stuff like that, does that attract the stalker enemy? Is that true? Yeah, Max played it back then. Yeah. Alien Isolation is 10 out of 10. All right, so should I do it? And what's up, Mel World? How's it going? No, that's just her getting by Albert 45 LOL, whatever it was called. Play it. It's scary AF. I don't get scared, if you guys didn't know. So yeah, I'll probably play it. I'm not joking, by the way, too. I mean, TJ knows. If you guys have been here long enough, I don't get scared. I just don't. So yeah, I mean, I play it. But you know what? My brother actually told me that, yeah, he found the game really scary. I'm like, get out of here, bro. Like, what is this? Shut your little face. What is this? So maybe I should play. Any noise you make attracts the Alien Isolation. Yeah, so it seems like that is the case, right? Maybe that's what Max was saying, because this seems like it might have been the demo that they played. Green herbs, bruh. Make sure to leave a like, boys. Make sure to leave a like, okay? If you guys are enjoying this, I don't have YouTube Premium, so throw me a bone here and give me a like, bro. Hit that like button, okay? It helps me out. It helps me out.
No, this way, no, this way.
The AI is actually insane. It's hard for sure. Yeah, that seems really cool. The AI looks cool. I've never played it though, but I bought it. I have it. I've had it in my system for the longest time. So maybe we'll play that this Saturday. You know what? We might do that. Wait, is that the creature? Hold up.
Man.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay. No. Okay. I was just going to say, I don't remember what Alyssa was wearing, because here we can kind of see that we kind of saw in first person that it seems like she's wearing a dress, right? So, but obviously Alyssa isn't wearing a dress. She's wearing kind of a suit with a long overcoat, right? She's wearing a suit. I mean, not a suit, but what's it called? Like a dress shirt that's tucked into her dress pants, I'm assuming.
Get some sleep.
So she's not wearing a dress. So never mind. That kind of proves that it's not Alyssa. Just by that. Because I thought maybe if she was wearing the same thing that her mom was wearing, then yeah, maybe. This might be somebody new, a new chick. Again, people are going to go to Lisa Trevor. I think that'd be really lame. But anyways, let's continue. Could be wrong by sounds just like, yeah, no, man, I don't think so. I don't hear none of that. It's 8 years later. Even if she was wearing something, it's going to be different. Now, I don't know. I mean, infectees, you know what I mean? Like people that have been infected. That means that Lisa Trevor was switching outfits every time, you know? You know? Like, nah, if it became that, I don't think so. I don't think so, man. I don't think that thing was just going to switch. Oh, outfit change. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't think so. I'm sorry. But I don't think they're going to be like, you know what this monster needs? Like the villain is like, you know what? We need to get her an outfit that actually fits. Like, no, I don't think so. I'm sorry. But yeah, could it be like a gated clone of her mom? I don't really like that idea of cloning. Resident Evil has done that in the past with like Resident Evil Code Veronica. Obviously, the Resident Evil live action movies has done that a lot. I don't like that. Plus, that's a L11XL size dress. Yeah. Well, it doesn't help that but the monster has the same kind of hairstyle. If it was her hair was falling out of her head, warped. Yeah, well then, you know what I mean? It would make more sense that, I mean, you could say that when Alyssa got killed, that the guy was such a psycho that he put her in a dress, and then the dress mutated with her and got bigger. Like, you know how Hulk gets big and then, you know, his shorts don't like rip through, or his boxers, I mean. But I don't think so. Again, there's a lot of presuppositions there. You know what I mean? Like it would have made a lot more sense that if it was Alyssa, she'd be wearing like her suit jacket or suit pants would be all, you know, like her dress shirt would be all like, you know what I mean, shredded, or her her overcoat would be, you know what I mean, broken. So yeah, also I don't like that idea, man. What's up, man? It wouldn't be her changing clothes, but those experimenting on her that put her in a gown. Yeah, but you know what I mean? For her, I mean, that's what I meant. Like you would have to make other suppositions to get there. You know what I mean? That's exactly the point that I was bringing up. Like maybe the guy was a psycho and put her in a dress and wanted to undress, you know, Alyssa. But again, it's a lot. It's a lot. You have to come up with excuses immediately. As mentioned, it would have been a lot more easier if it was the same. She was wearing the same outfit. She was just mutated, but I don't think so. Alyssa's immune. She took daylight and has antibodies. If she's captured, they are keeping her alive to test her antibodies. Killing her or turning her into a monster would be scientifically pointless. Oh, is that what you're saying? So you think that is that what the English version said, that it's a daylight? Oh, I mean, that would make sense if that drug was called daylight. Because this thing obviously doesn't like the light. Is that what you're saying? Is that because we're watching the Japanese version right now? And it said Dexafil. It said Dexafil. So is the thing actually called daylight in English? Yeah, you guys were mad. I saw daylight, but I didn't put two and two together. Is that what you guys were saying? Maybe like Dexafil is like the Japanese way is Dexafil. You know what I mean? Daylight, or I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say. An outbreak, the antivirus the survivors took was called daylight. Oh, yes. Oh, that's what you guys are talking about. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're making, so it might be that Dexafil is like a different variation of that, or maybe that's like the cure for this. That is interesting. Yeah, because I know we just beat Outbreak recently. So, but yeah, daylight. And it's interesting that Alyssa is like the OG, you know what I mean, person that's returning in this game. Or you know what I mean, like we don't know if she's dead. The high likely chance is that she's not dead, but I'm getting at that it's interesting that this thing is super sensitive to daylight, right? To light in general, not just daylight. But it's interesting that, you know what I mean, there's another connection there. You know what I mean? Whether that's just an Easter egg or a secret detail, but you know, like a connection. But that's interesting. No, it was Dexafil in English as well. Okay, thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Anyways, let's continue. Sorry guys, I just wanted to
You know what I mean? I wanted to see if that was actually true. But anyways, let's continue. I was also going to say, too, before, it almost looks like this thing is smaller. But it's just crouched. So I think the head is huge. But the thing is so slouched. You know what I mean? So maybe that's why. Yeah, the head, like the upper, like this part, like the upper torso and the head is just what makes most of the height. That thing's just going through the monster. If she flips the table, that's gonna be sick. Yeah, that thing's just all freaking head, dude. It's not gonna. We didn't see it. I'm not gonna rewind. I was gonna rewind, but I'm like, I don't want to see what's under that dress. I was like, let's investigate a little. And hell nah. Hell nah. You guys could do that on your own time, alright? I am not rewinding. Hell nah, okay? That's gross, alright? Can you imagine if you did that in the game and then it just a trophy pops up? It says like, "Stop, you pervert," or whatever Ashley says in RE4. Oh, that'd be hilarious, bro. That'd be hilarious, dude. Anyways, let's lock in. Sorry, I was just like, I hope I didn't see nothing, bro. That would be funny. What are you looking at? Yeah, oh, you pervert, whatever she says. Anyways, I'm just kidding, boys. I'm just kidding. That's hella nasty. Okay, so this is the section that I wanted to see because I'm like, is that an elevator? At first, before, I was like, oh, is this an elevator? But you know what? Wait, let's go back. Hold up. I didn't press my right buttons. Hold up. So let's go back here. This is that same section, but the reason I thought it was an elevator was because of this. I thought it was, and this looked like it was closed before, or maybe the angle of it was different. We kind of saw a third person of this and a first person, but now after knowing that this thing does not like light, this is obviously a light switch. So it seems like you're going to be able to go through certain sections. You want to go through the light to prevent the thing from going there for like a couple of seconds. That's a way to cut off, you know what I mean, sections where you want to go to an area. You know, it's a way to cut off the pathing of this creature. So that's really cool. I kind of like that it's light, you know what I mean? It's really scared of the light. It's almost like an actual like paranormal like a demon, bro. Like, yo. What's next? I'm gonna get my Bible or what? Like, get a cross. Yeah, get like silver bullets, bro. Oh, and this. Wait a second. So this is the same hallway as what we saw before. And look, yeah, the thing is chasing, like it's patrolling. So it's going there. It's probably gonna loop back over here. So that kind of was. That's exactly what I was mentioning before, right? So that's interesting. So let's continue. This is the same area as before when the first kind of gameplay trailer, or I guess the first Resident Evil 9 trailer, we saw this little like horse statue. Yeah, and then there's obviously this thing comes through, right? That's where we saw this thing crawling on the wall here. Okay, so we're kind of seeing like the level, yo. I knew. Well, we already ascertained, by the way, if you guys missed it, we did ascertain that this was a hospital, mostly because the architecture was the same exact, the ceilings, the architecture here, all of this stuff, like the siding here, all of that. I don't know what it's called. I'm just going to call it siding. You know what I mean? That all was very similar. So, you know, one could put two and two together, know that this is a hospital. So, yeah, it's just cool that we're kind of seeing more of the similar sections that we saw before. And it's all just connected, right? But what I'm curious about is seeing one section.
Hello.
Bro.
Hi, remember me?
Lads.
You bought your old house?
Yes.
Imagine if they pulled RE7 and this demo is nothing like the game. Dude, that would suck. But no, I don't think so. I mean, that is a good point, though. I will say that's not just RE7. If you guys remember, RE8 did this. They basically had a trailer kind of focusing on the villagers as if that was going to be a big part of the game, and then it wasn't. And then also, RE4 Remake also did this with Ashley. I don't know if you guys remember, Ashley was kind of running in like the beginning section. And I was like, bro, what is this? We're going to get an Ashley DLC? Did she like escape? What is this? What's going on? So it's almost like Capcom was pulling in Avengers. So that is a good point, Lord. That's a very good point. That could happen, that, you know what I mean, like things are going to be different in the final product just because they don't want to, you know what I mean, they want to throw us off, you know, especially for guys like me who like to dissect stuff, you know what I mean, who has gotten a lot of stuff right with my theories in the past, right? Just to name a few, like I got the ending of RE8, I got the freaking dog, I got all the freaking movies, like the like Welcome to Raccoon City, the Resident Evil Netflix, like stuff like that. But yeah, wainscoting. The wood panels on the wall are called wainscot. Interesting. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Thank you. Yeah, L ads. Yeah, like the video, boys. Like the stream. All right, let's continue. Oh, wait, hold up. You guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing. Wait. Let's go back. Okay. He's just turning around here. He's going to go in this room. Also, wait, look at the font. That music right there, like the crescendo and decrescendoing, that like it's very like, you know, like a spider kind of sounds, you know, when like you hear a piano and they're trying to do like a spider like in horror movies. That is kind of reminding me of like Dino Crisis. Like the beginning, like Dino Crisis 2, like a and then it's like, you know what I mean? It shows like the T-Rex or whatever, and they're attacking, and then it starts. Like I don't know. I'm just tripping, bro. But I hope Capcom remakes Dino Crisis, bro. Pause, man. Yeah, the font looks kind of nice. Yo, I will say the UI, even though that's like such a small part of the gameplay demo, I have to say. But yeah, Dino Crisis, right? Is it just me? Look. Hold up. Let's just pause for a second. I want to show you guys. Like that reminded me of this. Right? It reminded me of that. And like, it just, I don't know why. Maybe I'm tripping. I mean, I'm just tripping, man. This is not like a secret detail. Capcom is working on Dino Crisis, and it's the same composers, RE9. Who knows? But hey, one can imagine. It actually reminds me more of classic Resident Evil games. I feel like I've heard it before in RE0. Yeah, it could be, man. I mean, we've seen so many sounds that are like interconnected with RE games and like other Capcom games. Like we were just playing Outbreak, and they had that freaking like noise or whatever, like the Dead Rising like radio noise was in Outbreak first. Like it's so funny. It's cool though. It's cool. A screwdriver. The grip is blackened from the rust, but it looks like you can still turn the screw. Okay, you know what? All right, what is with these descriptions, dude? Why am I surprised? This is Resident Evil. It's gonna be like the most basic like description. Nothing useful here. I hope this isn't Chris's blood. I don't know why am I complaining, bro? That's Resident Evil. I guess because I just want to see more RE9 stuff. Whoa, she big. Yo, her face kind of reminded me of Ustanok a little bit too. She almost looks like a witch, dude. But like I said, she does give me baby vibes from RE8, like her eyes. Okay, it's just like the trailer. Oh, it skipped. You just kind of sounded like Hank Hill. Did I? I don't know any Hank Hill like words. Ooh, what is that? Ooh, okay, all right. Yo, Capcom changing it up. Last time Capcom changed like the healing system was, I mean, RE7 had the little sprinkling of the first, like the just putting alcohol and drenching it, which I wasn't a big fan of. Even before then, like RE6 had like the turning it into like capsules and you like going like, you know what I mean, putting it and then just eating it as if it was like gum or something. This one's cool, yo. It's like an injector and you can kind of hear like the, you know what I mean? Like, shoo. I like that. Let's listen to it again. Whoa, I just realized that thing took a chunk out of freaking Grace. Let's go back. It's hard to see because it's so dark. Did that bring her to freaking red? Dang, dude. I mean, that makes sense. Like, dude, the whole head, like, grabbed, like, her shoulder. That's crazy, dude. How do you walk away from that? Just like, oh, hold up, guys. I just don't have a shoulder anymore. I know it's Resident Evil, but that's funny. Yo, just took a chunk out of Grace, dude. Dang, dude. Where's the third-person gameplay? Have we not even gone to that? Oh, it's gonna be soon. Okay, never mind. Okay, this is another... Is this the... It's a different fuse. I see. So, yeah. Very classic Resident Evil. But then I imagine taking the fuse out, it's going to make everything dark. Oh, and this is what we saw before. Yes. Where it looked like she was like in a... Oh, okay, this is the next part of the scene. Yo, first person looks so... Is she limping? Is that why? I don't know. I want to see third person, alright? And third person better be freaking amazing. None of this... Are we just seeing the same thing over again? Or she just went back? Did we see this? Is this just this YouTuber that posted this? Or this repost? Okay, this is third person, yeah. Okay, I want to just go back a little. Hold up. GameSpot also had a third person. Okay, let me know if it's the same or if it's different. We'll go and look at it if it's different. I wish you showed the third person running. It looks really good. People are definitely going to make fun of that run. That jog. She only lifts this hand up a little. Yeah, why does she run like that? She's literally running like this. why is she doing that, bro? Okay, now it looks a little more normal. Now it looks fine. Now it looks great, yeah. Oh, so that's why it looked like she was going like that in first person. Okay, this is good. This is good. Because no way am I playing this game on first person unless there's a trophy for it. Because I don't care about first person. Yeah, no, it looks... Yeah, she was just scared. Yeah, she's just running. Ah, that's why the thing looked like... But in first person, all you saw was this. I'm like, what the frick is she doing? Is she like limping or something? Like, okay, this is good that we're seeing the full perspective. That means Capcom did their work, right? First person almost just doesn't give you the full context. So, yeah, even if you like first person, I wouldn't recommend not trying out third person, especially you're gonna miss context clues as to what's happening. Because it also looked like she was like limping before. Yeah. Okay, we kind of saw that in the first, or I guess the second gameplay trailer. So it's showing us different things, and they're skipping. They're skipping a lot. Okay, they're showing the same trailer. Is the guy just... No, it's different. Oh, no, that... Okay, wait. So her... No, that was her. Okay, no, that was different. Wait, what's... No, because the beginning of this video, we saw her looking in first person and seeing a dead guy, and then she saw the guy pull off his head and eat him. Then we saw this one was when she was here, and then the guy fell over. I don't think he was alive, and then this thing popped up, so never mind. Okay, we're just seeing the same thing over and over again. I keep saying if the voice acting is insane. I don't know if it's insane, but it's good. It's good, yeah. I mean, maybe it's insane because Resident Evil doesn't have, like, top tier, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, I want to be careful here because, there's a lot of actors that have great performances. You know what I mean? Like, even like previous game that we played, like RE4 Remake was fantastic. Sometimes Resident Evil has that goofy side to it. You know what I mean? Or even like Resident Evil 4 Remake, like they had Nick do a lot of the one-liners, which is reminiscent to OG RE4, right? Resident Evil 8 was kind of goofy with the writing as well. Not the acting, mostly the writing is just kind of goofy. So I think maybe the writing is better, yeah. Dang, I've been yapping for an hour and 20 minutes? What the frick? Boys, why am I like this? It just means I'm going to edit more. Why am I like this, bro? Why do I talk so much? Anyways, let's continue. Bro.
Oh, what the hell was that thing?
Device used to administer medicine in emergency fully restores your health. So that's like the first aid sprays, I imagine. Those are just one-time use. Because we did see the herbs before. I don't know. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's like RE6 where you do like the capsule. Maybe she puts like a herb. Nah, that's weird. I don't know. I mean, RE6 was also weird how they churned it into like, I don't know what when he found time to like put all the green herbs and dice it up and then put it in little capsules. But I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so 201, 202, 203. Now we saw this before. We actually saw this before, boys. We actually went to 202. We actually went to 203 and 202 in the last trailer, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think we went to 201 though. So I guess those are just the fuse. This is the area where she gets the fuse, right? It's a little hard because this trailer is just going. No, we've already seen that. This is the office where she moved. We're just seeing the same thing in third person. Yeah. I mean, it's giving us more context, though, so I'm assuming that 203, 202 is around here. It's all the same floor, right? That's all that basically just tells us, even though things are a little bit out of whack. But like I said, there's so much, like, things that I didn't even notice before, just because it was in first person. First person, you really don't notice all that much. Also, this does look like it's the beginning half of the game. Grace doesn't have a gun. And that's another thing, right? I mean, some people were saying at the beginning that it almost felt like it was just playing hide and seek. But even if Grace had weapons, it would still be like, you know what I mean, like Mr. X. I imagine you would have, or Nemesis, you would have moments where you could deter the enemy, but you wouldn't be able to fully stop it, right? Or maybe it's going to be like Lady D, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, right? I think it could be like that, where Lady D just didn't care if you shot her with a freaking grenade launcher. She just kept moving towards you. If it was a Magnum, whatever. Right, which I didn't really like, but in terms of this, even if she had her gun, I don't think it's going to do much to deter this stalker enemy, right? But I'm sure it will. I hope it does.
Hey, folks.
I thought it translates to terrible baby. No. It's les enfants terribles. It's French for the terrible children. But I mean, it's close. Terrible babies. That's funny. Baby,
So,
baby snake.
Resident Evil 9 Requiem back at Summer Game Fest. However, I was not.
Okay, this is commentary. I don't really care about that. I already just did my commentary. Ooh, what is this? Wait, is that the gate? Is this the gate? I think it is. Yeah. So she's actually going through here. Okay. Let's watch. Let's lock in. So I think this is what you guys were talking about. So yeah, we see the horse statue that's kind of thick, kind of wide of a horse. Kind of looks like a pizza. Like the angle makes him look like he has like a pizza outfit on. All right, and then we're continuing here, and then yeah. So that's like the end here. We see another fuse. So you have two fuses. That turns on the elevator, or is that just the doors? That must be the doors to the main hall. And the reason I say that is because look at the tiles. The tiles was in the same location as when we saw the her going into the that I think she's probably gonna find a gun soon, right? Because in the other photos we saw her have a gun at this point when she crosses. Maybe she was returning into that, because obviously it does look like it's a mansion. I wouldn't be surprised if, as mentioned in my previous stream, this is actually built by, or in my previous video from a while back, one of my theories is that George Trevor did build this hospital. It looks very much like the mansions. And George Trevor is from New York City, which is why I think this is on the East Coast, especially with all the footage that we saw with the trains, right, the subways. I'm just going past really quickly my theory, but yeah, make sure to go watch my other videos. You guys are watching this, not live. Okay, so yeah, but look, I think it is I think this is the main hall. So she doesn't have a gun yet. So that actually tracks. That tracks that she wouldn't be able to go through because, like I said, we saw her.
Come on.
Yep. That's what I confirmed. The light hurts her, right? Yeah, Dan Allen, by the way, steals content. He also got caught a couple years ago for actually leaking like private stuff from like NDAs. I'm surprised. Maybe he got sued. I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter. He's not a good he's not a good content creator. I would not watch his stuff, bro. Yeah, I would not watch his stuff. Yeah, that guy, I don't know. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people have forgotten that he apologized and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I think that guy sucks, bro. Like, whatever. I've never spoken to him. I don't know, but I'm not watching this stuff, dude. Hell no. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back here. I want to see. I want to see because it seemed like that was the main hall. But it's funny that the thing still grabbed her. By the way, this right here reminds me of like RE2 Remake, right? When like Leon and Claire try to go underneath the thing. But it's funny, the thing still grabbed her. Does she have one eye? This is the first time we've actually seen her not in the dark. Hold up. No, I think there's an eye there. It's just really hard to tell because this is really bad pixels. Probably somebody captured this with like a phone at the Capcom booth. Or is that closed? It seems like this eye, it's missing an eye. Yeah, it's missing. Yeah, it's like its eye is closed. Right? Yeah. It's like, get over here. Just grabbed her. Is that... Did the thing let her go? I don't know if the thing let her go, if that was just the end of the trailer. Let's see. I think this is where she gets saved by Leon or whoever else is another character in the game. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think the thing just left her, honestly, because we saw that happen before, right? We saw that in the first trailer that we saw, right? Like right here. Right here, when we first saw, right? This thing just looked at her. Sorry, no, not here. No, not here. Not this one. This one. Right at the start here. Right here. Well, I guess it was the same thing. Never mind. See, it just bites his head off. It eats it. It looks at her face, and then it leaves. See? I don't know if it actually sees correctly. Maybe it's kind of blind and it's almost like a licker. You know what I mean? Like it's blind, but obviously it has really good hearing. That could be it. I mean, she kind of just yelled, so that theory goes out the window. She kind of, oh. So it's weird that this thing is just, you know what I mean, letting her live. I mean, that could also be an explanation that this might be Alyssa, but as discussed, there's issues with that theory. Even like, I don't even like that theory. There's, you know what I mean? Like, as we discussed, the close, right, is different, but yeah. Yeah. Apparently, press played Wenwood Hotel demo behind closed doors today, too. Interesting. Okay, so that's what the hotel is called. Thank you. It's affected by light equals daylight vaccine carrier equals Alyssa. Yeah, sir. Yeah, what's up, man? Man, it's the same kind of hair that Grace has. Yeah, but I mean, all the hair looks like it's the same. You know what I mean? Capcom literally worked, like, they talked so much about hair, man. Like, I'm sure they added the same hair to everybody. You know what I mean? Probably just reused the same hair.
Look up Lisa without the mask. I think it's the same infection. She looks similar unless Capcom's just lazy. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, was there actual footage of Elisa Trevor without the mask? I mean, we kind of just saw like a picture, didn't we, before? Without a mask. Yeah, it's missing an eye too. But it looks really different. You can kind of see the skull of it. I don't know. That's the movie. Yeah, it's the movie. Anyways. Yeah. I don't even know if this is just her model without the mask. This is somebody actually went into the game files. This isn't sketch file. Okay, so we can actually zoom in. Yeah. Okay, it's loading the pixels. Yeah, I will say though, the eye looks pretty busted on the left. And this thing right here, this thing does not look at all like it. She obviously doesn't have a mouth. She also has like tentacles off of there. You know what I mean? Which is reminiscent to like Nemesis. You know what I mean? But she doesn't have a mouth, so it looks similar. It looks similar, but it's gonna have to double in size. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Where's my theory? If they do Resident Evil 1 remake again, that it could be her, but that'll make no sense. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't look like Lisa. I think it's a different character, and the jaw's missing. Exactly, Jacob. Do you think we'll get an advanced form of the T-virus in this game, like running zombies or something brand new? I don't want no witches, vampires, or werewolves, or wendigos, etc. Yeah, the wendigos. That was a rumor that was the first Resident Evil 9 rumor that ever released. And yeah, it was said that it was going to be in not by dusk, by the way. That was just a rando on 4chan. But yeah. Let me know if you guys made it to this point of the video by leaving 7 minutes at the bottom in the comment section, just so I know you guys are goated, because I know this video was very long. And click this one right here if you guys want to continue the dissection train, because we got a lot of Resident Evil 9 videos this week. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, boys. I really appreciate it.